Hey, Jeff, shut up. Hell no.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out for a second.
This is Alabama coach Nate Oates. When we're not playing, I watch Field of 68's After Dark show.
This is Coach Bruce Pearl. I love the Field of 68 After Dark show.
This is Duke head coach John Shire. Check out Field of 68 After Dark.
This is Xavier head coach Sean Miller. I highly encourage you to take a look at After Dark.
Now listen to you guys every morning when I'm getting ready. This is Field of 68 After Dark.
You know it's Field of 68 After Dark on this Monday night, February the 20th, 2023. Great to be with all of you here on Sirius XM College Channel 84. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Producer Dagan is here. He'll have questions from the chat. So if you're on with us on YouTube, chime in on a Monday night. I'm John Fanta. We've got Randolph Childress here with us tonight. We've got Terrence Oglesby with us tonight. Terrence is out in Boise. Terrence, quiet out there in Boise, Idaho?
It's quiet. It's quiet. I went up to the top of a mountain today and just enjoyed that quiet, that little solitude right there. And then a dog came up and sat beside me. It was somebody's dog. A lot of people walking. But regardless, Boise's a great town.
Boise sounds like a great town. It's better because you're in it. On this Monday night, we begin in the ACC, gentlemen, with John Shire and the Duke Blue Devils, who have won 6 of their last 8 games. They have won 3 in a row. They were expected to do what they did tonight, and that was beat Louisville by 17, 79-62, the final at Cameron Indoor. Jeremy Roach goes for 14 points, 6 assists, 5 Blue Devils score in double figures with Mark Mitchell and Kyle Filipowski with 13 apiece. So Randolph Childress, how would you assess what year one of the John Shire era has been?
I think it's been good. Initially, I think everyone is expecting it to be a certain level, the Duke expectation from the past. We all knew when they had this group of freshmen, there wasn't Paulo Bencaro or Zion amongst this group. Right. I think the most impressive thing is that he held them afloat when they've been battling injuries. I think including Derek Whitehead coming back, I think this might be the 13th game or maybe 14th game all year where he's had his entire squad. So they're getting better. I think they're peaking at the right time. I don't think anyone knows what their ceiling is because we hadn't seen them play collectively as a unit enough to know how good this group can be. So, but they obviously, I think they're a tournament team. I don't think there's any question about that. How good they are, we don't know because this team is just among all the teams that we talk about. They just hadn't had everybody full into time.
I look at this team and I love what John Shire has grown into. I think that's a big thing. Like as this season has progressed, he's figured himself out and started to figure out this roster a little bit more. And you talked about Jeremy Roach. He had 6 assists today. But I think the unique thing about how he's getting these assists is the fact that they're letting Tyrese Proctor bring the ball up the floor. And then they're getting Jeremy Roach the ball. And then he's able to create off a catch as opposed to bringing it up, then finding somebody else. I felt like that was a lot on his plate. But then Proctor, you're able to put the ball in his hands a little bit more. He's starting to figure out he's young, but he's playing well. But he needs the ball in his hands a little more. And then once Roach gets it on the wing, he can use his quickness on the wings as opposed to attacking straight downhill. So I think that's the big thing more than anything is he's figured out this roster a little bit better. They're healthy. Filipowski has turned into an absolute stud. And then Derek Lively is finally starting to get comfortable. And that part is huge.
Duke right now is a 7 seed, according to our Fielding the 68 crew. Fielding the 68 is on the Field of 68 every Monday and Friday, 5 Eastern time. Our great bracketologists give you a consensus bracket and their takes on the latest. And with, well, just 2 weeks left of regular season play, Fielding the 68, there's not a better time for it. Here's the thing. Duke right now projected 7 seed. And I go back to what you just said, Randolph, of the injuries.
Right.
Because for a first-year head coach, and you could tell me that he was groomed for this and all of that, but John Shire said it back in September, you're not truly ever groomed for something until you're inserted into it. And let's face it, when you lose what they lost in Paolo Banchero and Wendell Moore and Mark Williams, Trevor Keels, the list goes on, they were riding, Terrence, a historic run to the Final Four that high. And to me, it feels like the pressure of having to then fill those shoes of Coach K just doubled because of recency. That's the world that we live in. I don't think people fully realize the circumstances of, and it's not to say, oh, woe is Duke, of when you take in one of the top recruiting classes in the country, you should be good. You better be good. That's what we say. But circumstances versus stars next to a kid's name can be very different. And I feel like that's where we're at a little bit, Terrence, with Duke. And maybe that's why, agree or disagree, as a 7 seed, they could end up being a very dangerous dark horse in the NCAA tournament, because between the injuries and the processes that this team's had to go through, it took some time, maybe more than expected, to figure certain things out.
When you say the processes, I think about freshmen basically being sophomores at the end of February and early March. I think that's a big portion of it too. Dariq Whitehead's finally healthy. He's providing some things for them. But I like what you say about he was kind of groomed for it, but at the same time, Coach K, he was Coach K's assistant last year. There was no like, I'm going to help you into this next position. He was very much Coach K's assistant. Coach K, he even said it before the season, he's my assistant coach until the end of this season. Then it's his show. There was no helping along. There just wasn't until, Coach K got some food poisoning or something like that, had to go to the locker room at halftime. That's the only time you really saw John take control of anything that was happening on the floor. I think he's grown into this role rather well. And then you throw in some of the injuries, you throw in some of the developmental pieces that you've needed with some of these guys. They're older now, and John's a little more seasoned, not much, but a little bit more seasoned. Is this a team that can make an Elite Eight, a Final Four run? I don't think that's the case this season. However, you see the growth in the trajectory and how he handled this season and how he got better throughout the year, I think is pretty substantial. Guys, over the last 4 games, that Virginia loss should have been a at Virginia win. And then you rattle off Notre Dame, Syracuse, and Louisville. And sure, those guys are at the bottom of the conference, but they're playing well. And it's how they're playing when they're playing these teams that I think is significant. And their pieces are starting to come together now that they're older.
You know what? I was on the record. I said I didn't think anybody had more pressure coming into this season. And let's be honest, because of the success that Hubert had in year 1. And those schools are tied by the hip. So Hubert has his success, has his national championship run. You're taking over, obviously, for Coach K. And then you got this group of freshmen, and Dariq Lively goes down. He's missing games early, misses preseason ton of time. Dariq Whitehead goes down. So a group that's relying on freshmen, how many coaches, forget first-year coaches or not, how many coaches wouldn't have to adjust to his 2 most highly touted player, quote-unquote best players, missing the start of the season? And then the second one gets hurt again. That was just starting to come around. That was Dariq Whitehead being their second leading scorer. And then he goes down again, which we were scared, thinking that could have been a season-ending injury. He comes back now. He's implementing him in. So I think he's built for the job. He's made the changes. Like, who would have ever thought we'd ever see a non-Duke guy be on their staff? Like, you've seen him take control of this and just show a level of assertion that this is my program. I'm going to do it my way. He's been fun to talk to. I've enjoyed watching him. I think he's done a hell of a job. Again, it's year in and year out. There's always going to be pressure. But because this group is so young, we don't know the potential of how good they can be because we hadn't seen them enough.
Hey, and you also have to think too, you said, the pressure from Hubert Davis in last season. I think the pressure slid back over to Hubert's side after a good portion of the season because what's happening over in Chapel Hill kind of took the focus off of that side of that side of town, right? People weren't necessarily looking at Duke quite like that because everybody was so disappointed with how North Carolina's been playing. So I think there was a general forgiveness too that people expected with John being a first-year head coach, especially early in the season. And in a world where there's not a whole lot of forgiveness for anything, I think there was a general understanding like, hey, Coach K was there for 40 years.
I don't think so.
John's going to figure it out. Well, he figured it out. And even in some of these early season losses, there weren't many to Kansas, Purdue, Wake Forest, even there's, people are upset. But at the same time, I think there was a little bit more understanding.
I think it was more pressure than understanding because they had so many candidates.
Sure.
Like, everybody was like, why him? You had all this head coaching experience from all these Duke head coaches.
Yeah,
other
name one that
assistant-
really was good though.
Well, you can say that.
Amaker.
But that's even
Amaker.
Amaker's been good. JD
Amaker's been good. Who
for
else?
Central Florida's been all right. Amaker's been good. You can kind of say it like now. Look at Capo. Look at Capo's doing this year.
But Capo wasn't doing that last year.
No. But my point was, had he not, you could have left any one of those guys for this job.
Sure.
You still had assistants the year before, that all ran off trying to get jobs. I mean, we talk about it. I mean, there's just so many different guys from Collins now at Northwestern. We're looking at him where he wasn't hot now. So maybe it's timing, but Coach K handpicked this guy. And so I think from within their Duke brotherhood or whatever they call it, there might have been some issues, some concerns or whatever it is about that. You know what I mean? I can't give him but so much love.
Hey, hold on. This Duke brotherhood thing is the funniest thing to me because
what
there
are
have
you
been
talking
guys,
about?
Hold on. They call it the brotherhood or whatever, quote unquote brotherhood. And then, some guys that played at Duke for one season, they go to the NBA and they come back and they do interviews with Jeff Goodman. They've been like, I don't really know anybody except who was on my team, and I don't know half those dudes. Brotherhood, my butt. Brotherhood, my butt. Like I digress. But it's the same thing. Like John was handpicked because I think on the recruiting trail, he was a guy that was spearheading some of these guys' recruitment. Some of them, not all of them, obviously. But I think even the people that were in, the coaches' meetings at Duke kind of understood what was going to happen next. I don't really think there was ever any doubt. No, besides a potential Tommy Amaker coming down. That would have been the only thing that would have made some sense.
Yeah. I just think he had a lot of pressure. He's handled it as well as anybody could have imagined it. But I thought because of that, him being chosen the guy inside of Duke with all the potential candidates, because the rumor was coming into that why guys were running out was because they were saying they had to have head coaching experience. And then all these guys run out and take these jobs, or they go out and then they end up handing it, taking care of it with promoting from within. So
that's interesting. Now that you say the pressure thing, I think about NC State. I'm sorry to cut you off, fans.
No, you're fine.
I'm rambling here. But NC State, after they lost to NC State at their place by what was it? It ended up being 24 points. Like I was like, man, John needs a nap. Like my man was looking rough in the post-game presser. So obviously the pressure has built up, but I think because it was a new team full of young guys, I think it was different than when Hubert took over with a lot of the same guys, and then they just added Brady Manick. So I think there was a different outlook completely from the beginning of the season.
Here's the thing. The ACC has gotten a boatload of criticism this season. And weren't we just down this road last year is what someone might want to say.
Sure.
But part of that is that the bottom is what the bottom is. And at the top of it, at least to start conference play, was a bit mysterious with what Clemson was able to do. Obviously, they've taken their hit over the weekend. We won't focus on that too long. But the take that I have as I talk to you gentlemen tonight is that in a season, Terrence, where the ACC has gotten criticized, I would tell you folks this right now on this Monday night. I would not be surprised one bit if the Atlantic Coast Conference still ends up with 3 teams in the Sweet 16, because there's still some legitimate firepower at the top of this league. Miami, to me, is a dark horse to make the Elite Eight and be sitting in a regional final and win away from the Final Four. That guard play is outstanding. Virginia, by virtue of the way they play, I know a lot of people are ripping them for the last 2 games and in beating Louisville, Notre Dame by next to nothing. You know what? They won the games, okay? And Duke is a dangerous team that, to me, could end up getting seeded 6 or 7, but on their best day, they could beat a 1. On their best day. NC State, firepower. I guess my point is, Let's not get fooled again, America. Don't go writing off the ACC all over again, because I think we might get mistaken by that. I think that this is a league that's going to get multiple teams to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was 3 or 4.
John, you're leaving off a team because I think when you talk about guard play, trust me when I say Pitt's guard play is as good as anybody's. Their guard play, because they got a closer. They got 4 guys they're going to throw out there. And I don't, you know, if you try to play them, they play hard, they're tough, and they got a closer in JB Burton that when the game's on the line, he wants it, and he'll be an all ACC guy. They're just another team that I think that are well coached. They respond to the shit, but they're experienced.
Do you think that the hatred is too much? Do you think it's an easy take for people because the analytics check out, guys? Like, where do you stand on this? And here's my other thing. Compared to a year ago to now, like, how did you feel about the ACC and the NCAA tournament a year ago at this time, as opposed to how you feel about this league this season right now? Because we all know what happened last year.
I think the league is better than people give credit for. I just think the analytics is going to hurt them. The same thing.
I think it kills them.
Numbers. It kills. No, it does. It kills them. It definitely kills them. The league is better than people give it credit for. Go ahead, Tio.
Well, think about Louisville. They've won 2 non-conference games. That's the only one I'm willing to write off is like, okay, let's just slide them over to the side. You look at Notre Dame, they still have Dane Goodwin, Nate Laszewski. They've won 2 conference games. That's kind of nuts. Florida State is fairly healthy right now, and they've won 6 conference games. But in the non-conference, those guys were miserable.
Oh, horrible.
So what happened at the beginning of the season for them, you know, the first 6 or 7 games, 8, 9 games, they were playing with 6 players. You play in Leonard Hamilton's system, you need 10 guys. And you need to be able to play 21 to 23 minutes. They were injured, so they stunk in the first part of the season. Now they started to get a little bit better. They get some wins, and it just brings their metrics down one by one. And that's kind of the problem with how we're measuring the conference in terms of analytics, because it completely rids anybody reading it of context of what's happening. And that's kind of where my whole thing has been right now. What's up, Fanta?
Okay, so we asked on Twitter tonight at the
I don't have Twitter. I don't have Twitter right now.
Yeah. Somebody's imposter.
Somebody's got me. Somebody got me.
You're not on Twitter, but Randolph Childress is, and so you could tweet at him to @R22 Childress.
All your hate.
He set me up. Yeah.
Get it there.
You're gonna send me all TO's takes. I'm gonna get hit for it.
Yeah.
By the way, we're live now on Sirius XM College Channel 84. Welcome everybody to the Field of 68 After Dark on Sirius XM Channel 84. I'm John Fanta. Terrence Oglesby's here. Randolph Childress is here. We are just coming off of the TCU-Kansas game.
Yeah.
We'll get to your tweets in a few moments. Final score, Kansas 63, TCU 58. The Kansas Jayhawks own 14 quadrant 1 wins. Nobody else in college basketball owns more than 9. I'll tell you what, fellas, this to me is even more impressive considering the fact that Kansas, it would have had to take a lot out of you, right? Like Saturday's second half, boom, they're firing on all cylinders. It makes you think, hangover effect? When Kansas outscores Baylor 55-26 in the final 20 minutes, they ride that emotional high. They have to do the quick Big Monday turnaround. We often say the Big Monday turnaround is very hard for teams. No. Sure. They go into Fort Worth. They beat TCU 63-58. Kansas is 23-5 on the season. Randolph, how much are you buying the fact that Bill Self and the Jayhawks can repeat for a national title?
You can never count out Bill. I mean, he's the best coach in college basketball. I don't know if you can argue anything or be surprised, I should say, at anything that he does. I thought this was a perfect opponent for him to play because, let's face it, that was an ass kick in Allen Fieldhouse earlier this year. So if you were going to play someone off short rest, this was a motivational game that they didn't need much motivation to play. So I'm not surprised with the effort they came out with tonight because they owed TCU one. Give TCU credit. I mean, they it was a hard-fought game, hard-fought physical game, and went down to the wire. We logged on right as it closed down, but it was it was a close game all the way through. I'm just you can't say enough about Kansas. You just can't count them out. I thought there was a stretch there after they had lost 3 in a row, and then they went on the road, and then they got to Kentucky and just hit the switch and turned it right around. So, I mean, what can you say about those guys? I thought their season flipped right then and there. They could have been in trouble. You thought they were headed for to a so-so season. I won't say so-so season, but just an un-Kansas-like season. Once they got to Kentucky, it just flipped, and they got back in the conference play and just hadn't let up.
Here's my thing with this Kansas team. Over the 4 games prior to tonight, 88 points in a win, 78 points in a win, 87 points in a win, 87 points in a win. And if they're a little tired, they can beat you differently, and they can slow it down, and they can beat you up against one of the fastest teams in all of college basketball, guys. Like this TCU team, they get out in transition. They're incredible. But the fact that Kansas can win in so many different ways, and when they need to make it ugly, they can still win ugly.
Like tonight.
I think that's huge. Yeah.
Because you don't want to play a ragtag game with TCU.
We will talk about this game and much more coming up. We've got a break. This is the Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM College, Channel 84.
All right, we're good for 1:30.
Producer Dagan Hughes. Good evening, Dagan.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we doing this evening?
Sir Dagan.
Hello.
We're doing great.
Hang in.
Doing great. What do you have?
I've got a question for us, or a question for you guys, not for us. I know you guys what I think, but I got a question for you guys. He is our Player of the Week this week for the Field of 68. Jalen Pickett. What are your thoughts on Pickett and how he's been performing here as of late?
What is there not
as
to
of
say?
late?
He's a dude. As of
late.
That's true. That's true. Even more so.
He's been incredible.
Well, I'll get the question even more specific. If Zach Edey wasn't in the picture, is Pickett the favorite to win National Player of the Year?
Ooh.
No, I still think it'd be Trace Jackson Davis. Trace Jackson Davis would get it before he would.
But it's a reflection on the Big Ten that they could have 3 first-team All-Americans. That's insane. That one league could have 3 first-teamers.
They would need to be better.
He's been great. If he wasn't wearing a Penn State uniform and he was wearing an Indiana or Purdue uniform, we'd be talking about him. Well, we'll talk about him when we're on back on Sirius. Any other questions with 20 seconds left?
Where do you guys think Rutgers ends up on the seed line? Right now they're an 8 seed in our field in the 68.
And 10 coming back.
7.
Yeah.
7.
8.
I don't like where they are.
After Dark, thanks for swiping right with us on a Monday evening. John Fanta, Terrence Oglesby, Randolph Childress with you. We're presented by Bet Rivers, and we're talking about TCU's 63-58 home loss to the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas gets revenge. No shame for the Horned Frogs. Tough loss for them because they were in it. This was a battle. But guys, Grady Dick has been superb for this Kansas team. Every time I watch this guy play, Terrence, it's like you feel as though he's been with Kansas for 3 or 4 seasons because you forget that he's a freshman. He is the perfect Bill Self freshman. He really is.
Yeah. Plays within himself. Yeah, plays within himself, takes open shots. So you're saying he's sliding into Greg Paulus territory? To where like it feels like he's been there forever. Is that what you're saying?
It does. I mean, in one season, he's just fit in perfectly. And Self has now mastered this, right? Of being able to identify the guys that fit him from a freshman perspective, but he's also crushed it in the portal again. I mean, Kevin McCullough's just the perfect X Factor guy tonight. Goes for 15 points. He defends well. He
defends well. He was a Naismith
defensive
player of the year. He's one of the best defenders in the country.
The best. He's got one of the best high school players and one of the best transfers.
Yep.
Yeah. And Jalen Wilson last season during their national title run was just waiting in the wings, ready to be the guy. And he got to see what it takes to be the guy to win a national championship. And this year, I mean, there's going to be nights where you don't have it, but you have to do the other things. He had 7 points tonight on 3 of 11 shooting. He ends up with 13 boards.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that says a lot about his development, because there's a lot of times, younger players especially, that if they're not scoring the ball, there's like, shit, I can't help us.
I
can't help us. They're not doing anything. He ended up with 7 and 13 boards, 3 assists, and was okay with it, and just kept doing all the other things. That shows a lot about their team. Grady Dick, it was his night early on, but it was a sloppy game for him. I said it before the break. The fact that Kansas can win both in the 80s, in the high 80s, possibly low 90s, they can also win in the low 60s, high 50s. That's what makes them most dangerous in the NCAA tournament, guys, because, you're not going to have it on a day rest sometimes on the second game of the weekend. The fact that they were able to pull it together after an emotional win, what was it, 2 days ago? That's big. That's really, really big.
Big. Kansas wins this game. They're now a team, folks. They've won 23 games. 14 of those wins have come over quadrant 1 opponents. It's why the selection committee put them as the number 1 seed. It's why, in my opinion, they should be over Purdue right now. If we're talking about who's worthy of being the number 1 seed, you could talk about Houston and Alabama, of course, who are more than deserving of it. But man, it's amazing to see a Kansas team here. Keep in mind, they're 23-5. At one point, they had lost 3 in a row in conference play. So outside of that pocket, and I'll tell you what, and I think Terrence, you would have to agree here too, is you know what I was thinking as I was watching the top 16 reveal on Saturday? Like, man, they've got Tennessee as number 9 overall. And some people may have been like, wait a minute, is Tennessee really the top 3 seed in the top 16 reveal? Well, folks, Tennessee had just beaten the number 1 overall seed in Alabama. And Terrence Oglesby, you watched one of the few to actually beat Kansas, Tennessee, in the battle for Atlantis. How big that win was for the Volunteers at the time. And the follow-up I would have to you, T.O., is, okay, how does Kansas get beat?
Kansas got beat when they were struggling on the road. That 3-game losing streak earlier in the season, it was Kansas State and then TCU. That was a Saturday Monday game, I believe. No, excuse me, it wasn't. It was a Tuesday Saturday game. So I digress. It was Kansas State on the road. That game got them beat twice. And then they had to play TCU at home, which if you're pissed off about a loss, playing against TCU right then and there, that's tough because of how they play. And then Baylor was 2 days later. So like that kind of throws a loop in everything. If you're going to beat Kansas, one, you have to beat them up and make it ugly, or you have to be absolutely huge. Like, so look at their losses. Baylor, guard play beat them that game. That happens on the road in the Big 12. Iowa State beat them up. Kansas State made them play their game. It was going up and down, but it was still a very physical game, especially in the last 4 minutes. Tennessee was massive. They closed everything up. And that was before, quite frankly, guys, Kansas really found their flow with how they were going to attack defenses when they keyed on Jalen Wilson. Now Kansas is different. They figured those things out. Now they've won 5 in a row. And ever since that 3-game losing streak, they needed a little time after losing to Baylor. And then they played Kentucky that Saturday. They needed a little time. The good thing about a losing streak sometimes, especially when you're in the tournament and you're a top 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, it expedites your learning curve as what's our problem right now. Yeah. What do we need to fix immediately? And that 3-game losing streak, I think it helped them just because it helped them figure out where we could get certain guys in better position. And ever since then, like, Kansas is a problem, guys. Like they have lineup versatility. Ernest Uday came in 3 for 3 from the field. He was good. Like he gave them another lob threat that KJ Adams, when he's there, it's great, but throwing another 5-man in there in the mix is big. So now I think they play their starters a lot of minutes, but they also have kind of found a balance between, hey, sometimes it's Jalen Wilson's night, sometimes it's Grady Dick's night, sometimes it's Kevin McCullough, and they're all okay with it. And that's the fact that those 3 guys plus DeJuan Harris, they're tough, man. They're just tough.
Bill just seems to push the right buttons. I think early on when they was going through that stretch, I was critical of DeJuan Harris in the sense that he wasn't looking to score. Like I said he was self-checked. He wasn't looking to score. Then he goes on a stretch where he starts going into double figures, and then he starts making you guard him. Now the floor is opening up. I think they're so dangerous because they don't have to depend on one guy. Like Jalen Wilson struggles tonight, no problem. Grady Dick steps up. Grady Dick struggles, it's another guy. It just seems to be they're defending, and then the offense, the ball finds whoever it finds, and whoever's going, shooting it well or scoring, they just get the ball. They just figure out a way, find the right guy, which is championship caliber teams do.
Kansas over the last 2 years now, folks, is 57-11.
Is that good?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's just insane. And they're doing it in the best conference in college basketball by a wide margin. It's, to me, if you're the rest of the Big 12, if you're like Texas and Baylor, you're sitting there saying, gosh, what more do we have to do at times?
Man, if you're like Texas and Oklahoma, you're like, hey, I got to tuck my tail between my legs and switch conferences.
Which is what's happening. What's happening. And it's reflective because you have a West Virginia team that frankly went down a cliff to start conference play, has now been able to show signs of life. West Virginia in action tonight. Let's turn there. They get their 5th conference win. So they're a projected NCAA tournament team right now, and here they are at 5-10 in their league. 5-10. Do you both agree that a team that's 5-10 in their conference should be one of the 68 selected?
I don't.
I think you need to win 40% of your games at least in conference play.
He says he doesn't. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Let's see. I'll finish. What are you saying?
No, Randolph.
No,
go ahead.
I was compounding off of what you. Go ahead.
I don't. I mean, 5-10. I don't care what league you're playing in. I think you can get, if you're 2 games below 500, maybe 3, and you got some injuries or something like that, I'm okay. So if you're telling me they're going to finish up 20 games in their league or whatever, and they'll finish up 8-10, I'm okay with that. Maybe you start going below 7-11, to me, it gets dicey. I don't care who you're playing. Now, the great thing about that league is everybody plays each other twice, home and away. You like that. That'll change after this year. That'll be interesting to see what that looks like and how that changes everything. But 5-10, like, where do they finish up? Like, what's the final record going to be? Are you going to tell me 8-12 is good enough to get you in?
Well, there's 18 games, right? So I think 7.
No, 18. I'm sorry, you're right. 18. I keep thinking 20 ACC, but you're right.
Yeah, I was exactly with you. I was thinking the same thing. But I think if they get to 7, I think I think that's fair. I understand the Big 12.
So 7-11, right? That's what I did say 7-11. Yeah, I mean, but that's 7-11 is, man, that might be the bottom. That might be the basement. And I need to know, it would have to be a serious resume looked at, far as like who they lost those 11 games to and where and everything else. And I get the quad 1 wins. I get that, but I think that's probably the floor.
I will say this: they out-toughed a really tough Oklahoma State team today.
Ooh, that's an understatement.
Like they punked them, and that's an Oklahoma State team that doesn't get punked all that often. It's a tough squad. I think for it to be fair, like, you have to be reasonable. Like 5-10 is not good enough to be in the NCAA tournament.
And even right now, they're like 16-12. I mean, they got to get a couple more wins, man. Come on. Come on.
I will say
come on, man.
To lose 10 of 15 games and make the big dance. And then we're talking about tournament expansion. You all, meaning the powers that be, the suits, you think it's a good idea when you advocate for tournament expansion? Stop it. Stop with the BS. Tournament expansion is a horrendous idea. And this is the very example that reflects it. It totally totally devalues your regular season if you expand the tournament. Because then we're going to be forced to watch back half of conference teams fighting for their lives to make the NCAA tournament in February. I don't want to do that, Greg Sankey. And I'm glad that you can bathe in your Scrooge McDuck pool of gold. But I'm sorry. It's just not, to me, it's ridiculous. The tournament expansion concept makes no sense. If you're willing to put, and our bracketologists are great people, they work very hard, okay? If you're willing to place, if you're going to tell me that a 5-10 team, all right, deserves, in their conference, deserves a spot in the NCAA tournament field, then my goodness gracious, what else are you believing in? Are you believing that there should be some year where you'd have because if you expand it to 96, then go ahead, put the entire Big 12 in the NCAA tournament so you can make more money. You know, it's not only the little guy gets eliminated when you expand to 96 or whatever, but it's also where the power conferences get puffed up so much that, like, the sport kind of would lose interest in its regular season.
But
and
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's Fanta. I don't know if I would say that because all they're doing is following what football's done, and football is everybody wins 6 games, and you get to
but those games,
the
don't mean
Dorito
anything.
Bowl or whatever kind of bowl your school's going to, and it's celebrated, and coaches are rewarded for it.
Those games don't mean anything, though.
Are you kidding me? Tell that to the coaches with the extensions and everybody else. It seems it matters. Coaches that's outside of the traditional 6 or 7 schools, and we're not getting into this football tangent, but the average school gets rewarded for that.
The last time I watched one of those mid-tier bowl games was for the Danica Patrick GoDaddy commercial.
You didn't watch the Duke's Mayo Bowl so they could shower a guy in mayo?
No, that's not interesting to me. If I
didn't
wanted
think so
to do,
either. I thought it was
if
really
I liked
real.
mayonnaise that much, I would have done it to myself long ago, and nobody needs to see that.
No, nobody needs to see
Nobody
that.
wanted to
Mayonnaise
hear it.
covered Fanta.
Yeah, nobody wanted to hear it either. But it just to me, it reflects it. We've got them. We've got West Virginia. And I'm not saying West Virginia doesn't. Like, I'm not here to talk whether they do or not. It's more the principle of it. Is West Virginia a tournament team on their best day? Sure. You could argue it. The bubble's so freaking soft. But, like, sometimes we've got to value winning, whether it be if you perceive it to be in a lesser conference, because that team could still cross itself off as both the winner and NCAA tournament team. We'll talk about that much more. We're going to play blind resumes. We've got that and a ton more stuff. We'll take your questions as well. This is the Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM College, Channel 84.
All right, we're good for 1:30.
Hey, Danny,
So
I'm
Danny-
fired up about this.
About what?
Danny says on YouTube, Dagan, if UConn wins it all, then I get covered in mayo.
Sure, Danny, we'll keep you to that. Actually, you know what? No, you know what?
Let's make
Even
that
better,
happen.
even better. If UConn wins it all, we're just going to do it to Doster and just make him take it. Basically, what's going to happen. Just because.
He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, there's no choice. All right, before we get to the questions from the chat, 357 people watching the show, only 46 likes. Get us to 150 likes, and we will get TO's Twitter back.
1 minute.
Yeah, so we'll do that if we get to 150 likes, but only if we get to 150 likes. So TO,
Let's go. You better
come
be
on,
guys.
Get Theo's Twitter back.
Come on,
like
guys.
Dagan's been helping. Dagan's actually the one who hacked me so that we can actually do that.
That's right.
So he can
This
pull
is all
one of these
part of a
situations.
Hit the like button, folks. Come on. Hit the like button, for heaven's sake. Let's go.
Here's our question.
in March mode.
Here's our question. Hey, we'll keep it quick. What
30.
team, because you only got 30 seconds, what team matches up the best with Kansas in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, there's a ton of teams.
We'll
There's
pick
a ton
one.
of teams that
We'll
match
pick
up
Houston.
well this year.
Houston is the team. Yeah. Houston matches up well with them. I would be curious to see Arizona play Kansas.
I
Coming
would
back
really
in 10.
too, because you'd be really big, and then Kansas is a smaller team. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the premise of that. Will lightning strike twice for Hubert Davis? Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM College Channel 84. That's where we turn next here on After Dark.
Hey, they might make it to the NIT championship game this year. Get hot at the right time.
Here we go. So there's a debate right now going on about coaches and what we think and who's to blame and all those trendy topics. Let's try to mix that with the facts, okay? Here are the facts with North Carolina. They are 0-9, 0-9 against Quadrant 1 after yesterday's loss to NC State. They're 16-11 overall. Their net is barely inside the top 15. They're 5-3 against Quadrant 2, so okay. But at the end of the day, there's nothing about their resume that says NCAA tournament.
Nothing.
Will this team, does anybody want to say tonight that they still think that this Carolina team could / will make the NCAA tournament? I can't do it. I just don't see it. Even if they win the two games, the two quality games left in the regular season, that's still not enough.
They have to win out.
They got to win out.
So, and that's not going to be easy at Notre Dame, which they'll probably beat them because Notre Dame doesn't have anybody who can guard the 5. Well, that's if they decide to throw it to Armando Bacot, which is like a completely up in the air situation. Nobody knows if they will or not. Virginia at home. But let me ask you this, Virginia, where are they on the net rankings? Because I think the metrics of everything else have kind of hurt Virginia too in the net.
Yes, Virginia's down to 16.
So, I mean, they have to win that one. They have to win out. I don't think it's even close. Yeah.
But the schedule is set up for them if they wave a magic wand that they're hard, the Virginia Duke games at home and the Florida State Notre Dame games on the road. So if you had to pick it, that's the way you'd want to play it. And it's
absolutely
set up for them to figure it out. I think somehow they get it in, but I think they got to win out because I think, and if they lose one, it has to be to probably Duke would probably be the one they want to lose. You need to get that UVA just for the net win. But you can't lose at Notre Dame or at Florida State because it just kills you.
Could they get picked off at Florida State? Why does that game just make me think, watch out?
Every game is hard because the matchup against, we talked about, like, T.O. was joking about it, about Notre Dame. But if Nate Laszewski gets hot shooting threes, that changes everything.
What's gone wrong with Carolina? What has gone wrong?
I'm so tired of talking about what's gone wrong with Carolina. They don't play hard.
They don't defend.
And they don't defend. They don't play hard. And then they throw it to Armando Bacot once every Thursday. Like they basically told Armando Bacot, like, hey, dude, you want the ball, get it off the rim. I know they try to feature him some, but like that dude needs to touch the ball every time down the floor. It's not like he's selfish with it. Like, God bless him. Like, Randolph, I know you know him. And God bless that kid, man. He still played his butt off all year long.
You know what? I think and seriously, I think their inability to shoot the ball this year has really hurt them. And it's not just Grady Manick. I mean, the backcourt, RJ Davis and Caleb Love shot the ball significantly better a year ago. I mean, people don't even remember this, but even in ACC play last year, Leaky Black shot 40% in ACC play. Their perimeter shooting just spread the floor, just spread you out, allowed Armando, to knock down shots. They're getting almost dare shots now. Like, guys are just like, all right, it's almost, T.O., you know this on Scout Report sometimes. You give a guy a paper and be like, all right, sit in the paint. If he knocks down 2, then we'll go out on a third one. I mean, that's what it looks like when teams are playing them now. They're just, I don't know what happened to their perimeter shooting, but they just can't make a shot. And people are just sitting on them.
They take hard shots, RC. They take hard shots.
They do. But they took those same shots before.
Yeah, but I think the big difference of when they were taking those shots last year in the NCAA tournament was Caleb Love was taking them in the last 4 minutes of the game as opposed to the entire game.
No,
He's taking
I've
nothing
been on
but
record.
hard shots.
No one has ever had more of a green light than he had. No one.
Except for Randolph Childress.
No. Not in the history of that uniform. Hubert let you go. No one has ever had the green light the way Caleb Love does it. And Hubert is he's still, I mean, that's the way
He
they got
rocks with him. It's unbelievable. He rocks with him. He plays no defense. He doesn't like to pass the ball. He's got horrendous body language. And Hubert's like, man, he'll figure it out. He's not figuring it out. He's not figuring it out. Like, get him out of there. And another thing, I think Brady Manick too, like, he told guys to shut up.
Yeah.
I think Pete Nance is a really nice guy.
Yeah,
I don't think he has the edge of Brady Manick. Like, Brady Manick was like, he took ownership. He was just like, hey, that's enough now.
So
like,
wait a minute.
We got to play well.
You think Randolph that they'll find a way there?
I think the schedule.
We're so used to them getting we're so used to Carolina.
I just find it hard to believe.
Like,
have they shown me anything to make me believe that they will? No. But do I think they'll I think they'll win 3 of the 4.
I'm going to tell you what, Selection Sunday night on this platform is going to get all kinds of crazy if you hear North Carolina's name on that selection show. And our bracketologists don't have them in. I'll tell you right now. Don't let it happen.
But now we're saying it, but we're talking about if they win at home against Virginia and Duke, would you feel the same?
I still would feel that they don't deserve to be in the field of 68. I think that they have to win a game of consequence at the ACC tournament for me to be convinced.
So they need to win 3 games.
They need 3 quality wins to get back into the field.
I don't know where they're going to get it, Fanta. So what you're saying is they have to win
tournament.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's what I'm saying. I'm getting there. So the 4 they have to win out, and then they have to win a game or 2 in the NCAA tournament. Is what you're saying?
In the ACC tournament, yeah, they have to win. Yeah, they can't like lose their first round game in the ACC tournament. They're going to probably have to win that game, whoever they're playing.
Yeah.
And so you're only going to give them a quality win in the ACC if it's who? Virginia again, NC State, Miami, maybe Duke again. Like
I think they need. I don't think that 2's enough for a team that's over in the quadrant 1 category. I don't think that getting 2.
Okay.
And then we have to break.
No, but they're going to get 2 though. They're going to get if what we're saying, they're going to get 2.
Let's see. Let's take a break. We'll talk more about that after this. This is the Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM.
Good for 130.
Hey, Fanta, you're talking to 2 guys that have seen Carolina get spoon-fed our entire lives.
That's
so, like,
right.
They're going to get in.
I can't. Let me say this. Do they deserve it, Fanta? No. But there's
happening.
No way in hell they're not getting in.
It ain't happening.
Shit. I want to see
I'll
that.
sit back.
Shit.
I want to see that shit.
I got my popcorn. I'm ready for this tragedy to end.
I am too, but they're getting in.
They wouldn't be in today. Dagan, what questions?
Here we go. Here's a going from Brady. Have each of these guys describe their alma mater season in 3 words. This is good for this group because we all know you guys can talk. So 3 words. Let's start with TO. 3 words to describe Clemson's season.
Can I have 4 words?
Nope, you can have 3. So hyphenate 1.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Randolph. I'm trying to think of a clever way to say this.
Almost 30.
Kept it to 1. I like it.
Mine would be 4. Mine would be 4. Be like, hell yes. Oh no.
All right, fine. We'll give you that one. We'll give
20.
You
that Louisville loss. Oof.
Fantastic. I'm excited to hear yours, obviously.
Come back in 10.
Tough, but limited.
That's perfect, actually. That is a perfect 3 words.
I love provoking these 2 guys, Terrence Oglesby and Randolph Childress on the Field of 68 After Dark. I'm John Fanta, Sirius XM College, Channel 84. We were just talking about Carolina. The guys think if they beat Virginia and Duke at home, they win out here, that they're going to find their way into the Field of 68. I seem to think that they have more work to do than even just that, but we'll see. But with that, we welcome in producer Dagan Hughes. Dagan presents one of my favorite things that we do every year right around this time of year. It's now time for the Field of 68's blind resume game. Hello, Dagan.
Hello, gentlemen. Again, I've been hearing from you all night, but this is very exciting. I'm very excited to do this. So what I'm gonna do is I'll obviously read you two teams. You guys let me know what team you would have as a higher seed going into the tournament this year. So it's not necessarily who's in, who's out, but the higher seed in the tournament this year. So we'll start off. All right, Team A. They have a net ranking of 27. Resume metrics average out to 39. Quality metrics average out to 21.3. They are 2-4 in Quad 1A, so top of Quadrant 1. They are 7-9 in Quads 1 and 2, and they are 10-0 in Quads 3 and 4.
Okay.
Everybody got that for Team A?
Oh, you said 2-4 for 1, 7-9?
2-4 for Quad 1A, and then 7-9 for Quads 1 and 2.
Okay.
Now Team B, they have a net of 35. Resume metrics average out to 31.5. Quality metrics 28.3.
All right.
Q1A record also 2-4. Q1 and Q2 record 9-8. And Q3 and 4 record 9-1.
Okay.
I can take any other questions as well if you have them, if I can find it quickly.
Okay.
But discuss.
So Q1 and 2 record for the first team was 7-9. For the second team was 9-8. And the net ratings of 1 and 2, give us one again.
That again?
Give us
Net
one
rankings
again.
is 27.
27.
27 and team 2 is who?
35.
35.
Oh, boy.
I would probably go with Team B.
I would go with the second one.
Yeah.
That's where I side too. But to be contrarian, I'm going to go with Team A. I'm going Team 1.
You're just trying to go against us, Fanta. Just being
Yeah,
different.
you're just firing us up, Fanta.
Just-
Dude, go with what you
guarantee you.
believe. Go with your heart, Fanta.
I
Don't
know
you
the
just
way this.
pander.
No, I know the way that this game is played. Team A is the team that's better off. Go ahead.
All right, so 2 have went with Team B and 1 has went with Team A. I'm very excited to reveal that Team A is Illinois. Team B is Kentucky. So it's funny how much can change in 1 week.
Winner.
On someone's
Yeah.
resume.
1-0.
There you go.
Are you a winner, though? Are you?
No, Kentucky's in. That's
Well, it's
like
who would you seed higher? There's no real winners here. There's no real winner. It's just more.
I think they're both in it.
who would
I
you
think,
seed?
man, I thought Illinois played really well against Indiana.
Yeah, they did
They just
without
lost.
Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, I thought they were really good. They looked really good.
There we go. There's number 1. So
All
now we
right,
go
well.
to scenario number 2. I'll try to
ahead.
make it a little bit quicker because we're obviously.
Here we go. Here we go.
Team A, net ranking of 26.
Okay.
Resume metrics at 30.
Okay.
Quality metrics 31.7. Q1A record of 1-5. Q1 and 2 record of 7-8. And quadrants 3 and 4 record 12-0.
Okay.
Team B, net ranking of 23. Resume metrics at 30.5. Quality metrics at 37.7. Quad 1 record of 0-2. Quad 1A record of 0-2. Quads 1 and 2 record of 9-4. And quads 3 and 4, 11-2.
Ooh.
That quad 3 and 4 part's throwing me off. I'm going with A because of that.
Yeah,
Sticking
the
with it.
2 losses there.
Yeah.
The 2 losses there are tough.
It's going to be 1.
I'm going to go with Team 2 on this one.
Oh, you're going with Team 2, Fanta.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Even
two?
with the 2 losses?
I'm going with 1.
Oh, excuse me. No.
You're
I'm
going with the
team-
non-2 losses.
Team 1. Yeah, Team 1. Team 1.
Team 1.
Absolutely.
So everybody's going Team 1. Okay, so I
Yeah.
can reveal
Yes.
Team B was Boise State. Team A is Duke.
That's
Obviously,
not-
Okay,
this all happened before today, so obviously this will change. Obviously, I did this before their game happened today. So, but yeah.
So I'm
we
up
went with
here.
2.
So Duke, you all picked Duke.
Yeah. So, but here's another context-ridden thing. Like one of those quad 3 and quad 4s was the first game of the season for Boise State.
Also true.
Like that. Yeah, that's like that's the net, man. Boof. Boof.
But this is how it goes. That's just it, though, Terrence. And see, that's the problem. This goes back to the whole 96 team thing. You're talking about circumstances that the committee, they don't look at that. They're not looking. They're not saying, well, it was game one, so we'll give them a pass. Especially Boise State. Especially Boise State. Go ahead, take it. Game 3.
And this is going to be our final one for the show. We'll save one for the afters. I have one more after this. This is my favorite one that we're going to have of the night right here.
Okay, favorite one.
This is my favorite one of the night. So we go with Team A, has a net ranking of 39. Resume metrics that average out to 19.5. Quality metrics 38.3. Q1A, they are 3-0 in Q1A.
Wow. Okay.
Q1 and 2, they are 10-7. And Q3 and 4, they are 10-0.
Yeah, good resume.
Team
This
B.
is a really good resume.
Team B, net of 20. Resume metrics 14. Quality metrics 29.3.
Big 12 school.
Q1A, they are 4-4.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Q1 and 2, they are 10-7. And Q3 and 4, they are 10-0. So they have the same Q1 and 2 records and the same Q3 and 4 records.
I'm going Team A.
Team A. Tio's on Team
Yeah.
A.
Well,
I mean, the net ranking's lower, but that also, if the net's that high.
But you're not a
they're
net guy,
4-4.
Tio, so that makes sense.
Well, but that just tells me they're in a bigger conference.
Team B.
I'm going to go with Team 2.
Team B for me. Team number 2.
Team 2.
Team 2. Okay, so we got 2 Team 2s, 2 Team 1, or 1 Team 1. Team A is Northwestern, and Team B is Kansas State.
Yeah. I mean.
But again, that's pretty. I had to triple check Northwestern's resume after I looked at it today. Because 3-0 in Quad 1A is pretty impressive.
No, they've had an impressive year.
They've been really good this year.
Been great. And I do wonder if there's any Big 12 inflation going on.
Also true. Also, don't forget that 3 seed right now, Kansas State, obviously, after the weekend. So, Fanta, I'll also give it back to you to end the show here, and then we can do our last one in the afters.
Thank you, Dagan Hughes. Thank you to Terrence Oglesby. Thank you to Randolph Childress. It's been great to be with all of you. Hey, tomorrow night, the hour's going to fly here. 11 p.m. Eastern time, Field of 68 after dark. Folks, the slate is unbelievable tomorrow. Tennessee at Texas A&M. Marquette at Creighton. I'm off to Omaha in the morning for that one. Iowa State at Texas. Indiana at Michigan State. Colorado State at San Diego State. Baylor at Kansas State. We can't wait to bring it to you. We'll see you tomorrow night, 11 o'clock, Field of 68 after dark.
Okay, it's clear.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Appreciate you, Jimmy.
Thank you,
No
Jimmy.
problem, guys.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Have a great night.
You
Bye,
too. Man.
Hell of an afters graphic, by the way.
Hey, I thought we were going to get into that
Thank you,
Goodwin,
Tio.
the Goodwin tweet.
Oh, what one?
No, with the guy that bought Penny.
Oh, we're going to get into it.
Oh, we're getting into
We're going to get into it. Now, the question is, do you want to get into it right now, or do you want to do our final blind resume and then get into it?
Give us
Final
the
blind
final.
resume.
All right. See,
Yeah.
I figured that's what
Let's
you
do
guys want. That's a little more fun than probably talking about Goodman. So let's do
No,
our final
wait a
one.
minute. Hold on a second.
I'm
What
holding
is
on.
Quad 1A?
Quad 1A?
I was going to ask that.
I don't know.
I didn't want to sound like an
exactly
I've
idiot.
never heard of that.
Of it. It's basically, so Quad 1 consists of the top 75 teams in the net, right? If you have a Quad 1 win. So they eliminate them because the bottom of 75 like eliminates some teams that come in and out. So they make it Quad 1A. I don't know the exact one. This is a bracketologist question, if I'm being honest. But
It wasn't that. Is that not 40? Is it 45?
It's like 30. I want to say it's like 30 maybe is what's popping into my head.
I thought it was like 40
So
something.
it's 30 and above.
40.
So you don't have that movement. Like Wisconsin right now is back and forth between outside of Quad 1 and in Quad 2. So they like eliminate that to avoid it continuously changing, and they keep it high.
That is a shit heap.
That's what I interpreted it as.
Basically, it's the better teams that you're playing are Quad 1A. Really good teams. Okay, so final one. Here we go. Team A has a net of 33. I have a feeling you guys are going to know one of these teams, but I don't think you're going to know the other one.
Yep.
Resume metrics average out at 37.
Okay.
Quality 50.7. Q1A record 0-3.
Not good.
Q1 and 2 record 7-5. And then
Okay.
Q3 and 4 13-2.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I don't like it.
I mean, I never said they were all going to be pretty. Not did I?
This team might be closer.
But
to the
are
bubble.
these teams that are in the tournament, or are they?
They're on
are
these two
bubble
teams. These are bubble teams. These two.
Okay.
Here we
I don't know
go.
if I'd put that team in. Go ahead.
Well, wait, I didn't even read Team B yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put Team A in. I'm watching the graphic on the YouTube channel too.
Okay. So Team B has a net of 48. Resume metrics average out at 50.
All right.
Quality metrics average out at 38.7. Q1A record 0-6.
Oh my God.
Q1
Neither one of them belong.
Q1 and 2 5-11.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And Q3 and 4 they are 11-0.
Oh no.
Do you want to take any guesses as to who either team is right now? You guys can guess.
So you don't want it. You
Clemson
don't want
and
either
Wake.
team.
I bet you I know who Team 2 is.
Who's Team
It's
2,
Team-
Fanta?
North Carolina.
Team 2 is indeed North Carolina.
Yeah. Guess
Yeah,
what?
they're-
Not at my party. Sorry. Not happening. Okay. Absolutely freaking no. You're not let in. You're not allowed in.
Yeah.
So Team B is North Carolina. Any guesses who Team A may be?
So you wouldn't put Team A in?
No, they're
Both
both
teams
gone.
right now are in the field in the 68, first 4 out.
Yeah.
I would pick Team A if I had to pick
Yeah,
between the
Team
two,
A.
but I don't think either one.
Is Team A a Mountain West team?
Team A is a Mountain West team.
Oh, okay. Is Team A New Mexico?
Team A is not New Mexico.
Utah State.
Team
Utah
A is
State?
is Utah State.
Utah State? Yeah.
Yeah, neither one of them are invited to my party.
But you
I'm
are picking Utah State over North Carolina.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if you had the choice in Selection Sunday, you're saying Utah State over North Carolina. Yes?
Yeah, it's
We're saying that, yeah, but
ridiculous.
selections.
I'm just
the
saying that's what
selection
you're
committee's
saying.
putting
That's what
I'm
you're
Carolina
telling
saying.
in.
Right now,
Tell
based
them
upon
RC.
resume.
Tell them RC. Tell them. Don't let
It's
them.
coming. Don't even worry about it. Don't even waste your breath.
Also,
Hey,
I love
Fanta,
the, I
get
love
your
the
popcorn
chats.
ready, Fanta.
Dagan, if Carolina gets in, I don't know what the schedule on the programming side is on this platform that night.
It's going to be a
What-
long one.
what-
I can tell you that. I know it's going to be.
I've heard
all-night
I've
affair.
heard a little bit. I've heard a little bit. I could tell you, I'm not waiting until my whatever show that they've got me hosting until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Whatever the first show is, I will be in the Zoom waiting room awaiting.
I will find you. I will FaceTime you. I don't know where the hell I'll be, but I promise you.
Make sure I'm in that call.
Oh
too.
my gosh, we got to talk.
Now, this
Yeah.
happened a couple of years ago. I was working on a show. I will not name him. Randolph, you've worked with him before. I was working on a show. Terrence, you're going to work with him in a couple weeks. I was working on a show with someone who's a Syracuse alum, okay? And we are talking about Syracuse before the show. And at the time, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, they had no business, in my opinion, at the time, getting in the tournament. Well, of course, they get in. I think I threw my desk chair across the room. I can't do. I mean, I'm sorry. This is the NCAA tournament. Carolina cannot be let in this year. Now, again, if they win out, then I'll start to come around. But there are no signs. I think they could lose to Notre Dame and put this all to bed.
It would make lives a lot easier for a lot of people if they did that.
You think they want to even get in? You know what I mean? Like, that's it. You keep saying that they don't play hard. Like, if I'm Caleb or RJ, I might be looking at Airbnbs for the Bahamas this third weekend of March.
You're just gonna let a dead dog lie. You ain't gonna try to save him. You just want this season
And it's
over.
not just
Time to euthanize this
fault.
puppy. Get
What's
him out
that?
of here. Time to euthanize this puppy. Let's get this season
Yeah,
over with.
that's
for
where I
Carolina.
am, fellas. That's where I am.
I think they're just a victim of their expectations.
What?
I mean,
They made the Final Four last year.
Oh,
no. I'm saying they were preseason #1 team. I just think that's what makes you feel like that. Because if this was someone else and they had a chance to get quad 1 wins, Fanta, you'd be a little optimistic. None of us are saying they're playing like great or we're surprised, but you'd have a little optimism where you'd say, if they go.
No. Here's the problem with that take. We wouldn't have optimism because we wouldn't be talking about them. You know what I mean? Right, Dagan? Dagan, we wouldn't be speaking about this if it wasn't Carolina, if it was another team.
Oh, of course.
Why are you bringing
if this was Seton Hall, this would not be
because he's on my side.
On the show.
Dagan has
if
never
this was
not
Seton
been
Hall,
on my side.
If this was Seton
Fanta
Hall,
and I have been on the same side.
That's a good call.
To not be on the same side.
Yeah, if this was
That's
Seton
why
Hall,
that's why they're going to be in.
This wouldn't even be mentioned.
That's why they're going to be in.
That's a big point right there. I agree with RC. That's why they'll be.
That's why they're going to be in.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, we're gonna move on for the Ball Resume game. Chat, if you enjoyed that, let me know. We can do more of those as we get closer. TO and RC and Fanta, you have no choice if you like it or not because I'm gonna make you do it anyway. But yes, let's get to what we talked about a little bit earlier. Obviously Goodman talked about it a little bit last night.
Hey, real quick, Dave.
Yep.
109 likes. Give me my Twitter back.
Yes, we need 40 more likes. I have 110 on my screen. So we need 40 more likes to get Tio's Twitter back.
And I hate to, Dagan, I hate to veer for a moment, but if I see one more person ask us to pick the Creighton Marquette game,
just pick it right now. Just go right now. Pick Creighton Marquette. Go
on their home floor in Omaha with Ryan Kalkbrenner. Of the Big East top 4 teams, none of them have lost a home game. That's not going to change on Tuesday night. Creighton beats Marquette.
That was going to be my question. Where's the game? Because whoever's at home, I said the same, going to win. So, Creighton.
I'm going with the Fighting Shakas.
Whoa.
T.O.'s picking with his heart, man. You know Shaka's his guy, so he ain't going against Shaka.
He's supposed to be different from you two. That's why.
That's right. I'm just being contrarian. I'm being contrarian.
If Marquette can go and win, they would all but secure a Big East regular season title. It's over.
Season over.
It's over. And it's amazing. I mean, a brief word on Marquette. Shaka Smart should be in the top 3 in the National Coach of the Year race. The fact that they're ranked 10th in the country today is absurd. Absurd. He didn't get some 5-star recruit. He didn't make any splashes in the transfer portal. He literally invested in the kids that he had, and they've all gotten better. Tyler Kolek and Cam Jones are lethal. Here's the thing. I'm calling this one right now to both of you. I think Marquette will be a trendy pick by casuals to get upset in the first round. Because I think
yeah, you're probably right.
They're going to be a trendy on the other end. In a lot of ways, from a reputation standpoint, that particular week, Marquette is this year's Providence. Everybody and their mother had South Dakota State beating Providence. All these people were picking Shireman and South Dakota State. It didn't happen. And guess what? They ended up playing Richmond, not Iowa. Not saying they would have beaten Iowa or whatever. The point is, I think Marquette's the team to me that a lot of people, like we all have acknowledged their greatness, and they've been great. Offensively electrifying. T.O., can you simulate Marquette's offense? Really, like getting ready to play them? Can you really simulate what they've done?
It's hard to simulate how good Tyler Kolek is in pick and roll situations. Like this they use the slot. They use the slot as well as anybody else in college basketball. It's like a quick pistol situation. They send that guy over to the slot and they attack from different angles than anybody else does. He utilizes the middle of the floor as well as anybody in college basketball this year. So yes, it is hard. It is hard, Fanta. Yeah. And
Marquette fans are saying that it's a cold take or whatnot. For the record, I have Marquette going to the Sweet 16. Like that.
I think it's possible.
I think they're going to win multiple games in the NCAA tournament, folks. Yeah. So, let's allow us to finish here. But yeah, they're really good. I mean, they just so happen to be running into a team in Creighton who is a dark horse to make the Final Four. If dark horse is even appropriate for them anymore. Creighton has played as well as anybody over the last 40 days, Randolph. They've won 9 of their last 10.
They started out well when we thought they were, really, really, a Final Four caliber team when they started. Then they went through the middle, and then Kalkbrenner got hurt. Now they're playing their best basketball to finish the season, so I'm not counting them out.
Providence at UConn Wednesday. Who wins?
I think it's another game who's at home, and I think it's at UConn.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
I think UConn wins. I think UConn wins at home.
Hey, speaking of that game, we will be there After Dark live from the floor.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what? I'm gonna change my pick on that. I might go Providence on that one. I don't know. I got to sleep on that one.
Tight, but Providence did lose to St. John's on the road. They've had trouble taking their stuff away from home. Revenge spot for Connecticut. I think they find a way. Dagan, here's the field of 68 behind the curtain.
Oh, yes.
Dagan, what is going on with Wednesday night? Why am I getting text messages at 10 o'clock earlier tonight saying, where are you Wednesday night? What's going on? What is going on with this trip to stores?
Who'd you get text from? I'm not even going to stores, so I don't know.
Well, is Jeff going?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's Jeff and Rob from stores.
Okay, there's a chance that Goody may be out.
Oh. Breaking news.
He's got a big story to break, I think, with Memphis.
Speaking of perfect. That was perfect. Look at that transition, Fanta. That was beautiful.
I am so excited to see what these two think about all this.
Yes. So I'm not sure I'm sure you two have seen the comments. Obviously you did because they were thrown in the group message earlier today from last night's show. And obviously Gibbon said that Memphis fans should not be happy just being on the bubble every year. Basically, he was kind of hinting at, is Penny the guy there going forward? So I would like to get the two of you, your thoughts, or actually all three. We can give all three. You can give yours as well. Your thoughts on Penny's tenure at Memphis.
Should I go first?
Go right ahead.
Who wants to go first? Everybody looks so excited to talk about this.
I think it's ridiculous. And I'll say this: they've won 20 games. He's won 20 games every year he's been there. Like, what are we talking about? Like, are you? I don't even want to cuss, but I want to say, like, is this?
Let it fly.
I was quiet because I was like, is this really a fucking take? Like, no. like, are you kidding me? Coming through COVID, they've won 20. If he's supposed to get fired for 20 games a year, then there's a hell of a lot of coaches right now. We need to go. Half every league is fired.
Yeah.
He's won 20 every year. You know what? I will say this on the serious side. I think he's a victim of the problem is going to happen is what's going to happen in this league, right? Houston's leaving. Central Florida's leaving. You know, Cincinnati's leaving. Like, what's going to happen with this league? And he's a victim of that because even right now, it's a 2-bit league at best.
Right now, it is.
League right now. It's 2-bit league. And so I think he gets punished with that. But as far as him questioning whether come on, stop it. Like, let's stop it. I think Jeff was hanging with Rob too much and that'll drive anybody crazy. And they just needed to be separated.
Too much time in the car with Dolphin.
They spent too much time together in a car ride, everything else. So, Fanta, that's what that call was. It was to break that up so those guys can come back down and relax and get back to their senses and make some sound takes, man. I ain't buying that one. I don't know how y'all feel. You can keep that.
What was their record? What was it? 105 and 52.
Oh, 102 and 50 or something like that.
Yeah. So 102 and 50. There is something to be said that in Memphis, a city full of talent, Memphis kids want to go to Memphis. Like, you would think they should be in that 23 to 26 win range every year. But 20 wins is 20 wins. I understand that the whole thing of like they should be better more consistently. I get that part, but it's when we say better, like they're already good because they're winning 20 games. But like I'm accustomed to a Memphis team winning 20, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, 26 games. Like I think, especially when that league moves on and they're still in that league, they're going to be up there in that 25, 26 range.
But I'll add to this, Tio. We got to factor in COVID.
Yeah.
And we got to factor in, like, how many teams get manage the distraction with the Monty Bates thing, lose a player of his quote unquote talent level.
Yes.
And then make a run to the tournament. And then on top of that,
His talent level?
I said of Amani Bates, of quoted what his talent level was supposed to be coming in, because he was, with a rep. Like, how many people can survive that? Like, you lose a guy with a rep like that, most times it's just, you don't respond the way they did. They make a tournament run, they lose and go to a tournament run. And I think the other thing was, how many teams can respond to that with the NCAA infractions over their head?
Yep. No,
like some programs hasn't responded, and he's done that in his time there. Like, come on, man, stop.
And Penny is Memphis.
Stop.
Memphis. He is Memphis. Like, he's not going anywhere. Come on.
Stop.
He's 105-50 as the head coach of Memphis. If other former players who are now coaches at their respective institutions, you all know where and who, and where to find them.
Sign me up for that.
If other coaches are struggling to the degree that they have and have kept their jobs, Penny Hardaway's not going anywhere. Now, here's where Jeff's point should be taken, because to me, the take of anti-Penny, it ends up going down a path that we all are saying, no, nobody's firing Penny Hardaway. I think what his point is, all right, it's been a long time since Memphis basketball was in the second week of the NCAA tournament. And frankly, it's been a while. So, is that acceptable to Tigers fans? Is the whole point.
Right.
Because Memphis basketball fans are so passionate. I also would like to think that Jeff is suggesting that one former Memphis coach who is now coaching a blue blood, he could do it at Memphis. So, why can't somebody else just do it at Memphis? You all know what I'm thinking about with that. We all know. But my point is, Penny Hardaway's not going anywhere. So it's kind of a moot point. It doesn't matter. He's not, you can both suggest that Memphis fans are hungry for more, and that the level that they've been able to achieve isn't what they strive to achieve, while also understanding that Penny Hardaway's done more than enough, both as a player and now as a coach, to say his track record and now his record as a coach, he's not going anywhere. He's more than good enough for Memphis. He's going to be the coach of Memphis for as long as he wants to be, because he's going to be able to win.
I just think we still, you can, the only problem I have with it is that you still got to take some context. And for one, it's 20 games, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
He's won there. If we're going to hold Penny to that bar, then let's set the bar everywhere else. Then that's all my thing is. And if you're going to say, like I said, we make COVID excuses for other people. And then the NCAA infraction, that's hurt. Think of where USC was when this happened. Think about what Miami was. Miami's back now, but Miami had a couple of years in there where they weren't there. There's been some school. Look at Louisville right now. So let's not. So Penny went through that, and he's still winning 20 games through that. That says something.
MK is saying 20 games in a bad conference with 5-star talent.
Where's the 5-star talent?
Yeah, where's the 5-star talent?
Where's the 5-star talent? Where?
That's not true.
That's not true. You had Wiseman in them that one year. You had Wiseman in them, and that mess that happened there.
And Wiseman was only there for 5 games.
And he was there for a couple of games. So where's the 5-star talent? Amani Bates, he got rid of.
See, but Randolph, you're talking way too much rationale here to be American.
Yeah, all right, maybe that's it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just like to make sense sometimes.
Are not always human.
Okay.
All right. I mean, here's the deal.
Randolph just over there making sense.
Where does Memphis go from a conference perspective?
That's the issue they need to be asking. He's doing it where if people in Memphis want to be this passionate about Memphis, you need to figure out where you're going, because
Jalen Duren
teams are moving.
Jalen Duren.
Yeah, they made the Sweet 16, didn't they?
And they made the second round. I mean, they lost to what? Gonzaga in the second round?
Yeah, Gonzaga.
Come on, man.
That is true. I have a follow-up question for you guys. So obviously, you may have already mentioned this. I've been doing a few things over here, so I may have missed it. But obviously, with the teams leaving for the Big 12, Memphis should now run the American with those guys leaving.
Yes.
So they will.
Well, that's the thing. How many years do you get if they don't?
They will.
They're
Their talent's going to be superior.
Their talent
enough.
is so much better.
Fair
They're
enough.
going to have to play somebody out of conference to make it even competitive. They're going to run this conference now.
Yeah, it's the new Houston in the AAC. I mean,
Yes.
that's what it's going to be. Maybe not to that level.
So
but
what
they're
you're
gonna
saying
be-
is, if for some reason they come out in the next 2 years and they don't own the conference, then this is a legit conversation.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's where I was
In
going
the
with
next,
that.
what? How many years did you give
I
it?
said 2 or 3. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number.
Yeah, but he's just. I don't know. Sometimes we put these guys Sometimes we put them on the hot seat, and there's just no reason for it. He came possessions away from beating Gonzaga last year, and they're going to make the tournament. They're going to make the tournament this year.
I don't know what do you want? I don't understand. Like, what do you expect? Like, is Memphis is there a national championship banner hanging down there or something that I don't know about? Like, am I missing something?
Well,
I'm laughing at that, and I'm also laughing at Yuli Burstein saying Greg Waddell to Georgetown.
Oh man.
Which vacancy are you most intrigued to see get filled in the spring?
Georgetown.
Well, I don't know. Hey, they beat Butler last night. That could be enough for an extra 2 years.
Stop it.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding, everybody. It's a joke. It's a joke.
You're being facetious.
I agree with Tio. I think it's Georgetown.
Yeah.
David Bentley
now how
says,
it finishes up, some probably some other jobs could open up.
David Bentley
be
says
some other
Clemson. David Bentley says Clemson. Chris says Wichita State. Andrew Schaefer says Patino at St. John's. So, Patino
I
at
think
St.
St. John's is an interesting job too.
I think Hurley, man. I said that before. I think Hurley, that'd be a good
Dude,
job
I
for
would
Hurley.
do anything.
I would love to see Hurley there.
Hurley matchup. A Hurley big.
I would love to see Hurley there. I mean, I do.
You like the idea of Bobby coaching at St. John's?
I do.
Tell me why.
I just think he's a heck of a coach. I just think there's limitations of things that have happened. I think him in Arizona ultimately
I forgot to pay the electric bill.
Yeah, he's right. I think he just needs to I think he just needs to leave and go somewhere. And I think St. John just fits him. I think the area fits him. I think the conference fits him. I think his personality in that league fits with those coaches. I think he's a hell of a coach. I'm not saying, whatever. I just think it's you can be at a place sometimes and it's just time. He's done well there. We now again, I've heard us on this very show talk about how COVID screwed him up. And we don't want to get at the Memphis and Penny, but either way. But no, I just think it's time for him. I would love to see him more him just leave over and go to that and take the St. John job.
There's the Mike Craig Duke connection. Here's the thing.
I think it's less the Duke connection. I think it's more like the St. Patrick's connection and all that stuff there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that Bobby is a good coach. I'm not here to say that he's not. So please, St. John's can do a hell of a lot worse. And there's probably not a ton that can be much better realistically here. But I get it. It fits. I just don't know. To me, St. John's,
But Fanta, what you just said is the reason why I think it needs to be, because that's a job that has to be a fit. You just can't take any coach and plug him in St. John and think he's going to be successful.
I almost think that the talk is so much about the fit that it almost makes me wonder if it's too good to be true. So what? So he's going to have St. John's hovering around the bubble? I mean, it's time for someone to fully reinvigorate that program. They need someone. They need a riser. Like, do you guys think Bobby Hurley's a rising star? They need to identify a rising star who can.
No, but sometimes you're only as good as a program allows you to be.
Come on, but we're talking about the issues that he had in Arizona. Like, come on. I mean, why couldn't he be?
Well, ask Mike Anderson that.
I don't know.
Mike Anderson was a weird hire to begin with.
Well, he's never had a losing season.
That's true too. He hasn't been bad.
I'm just saying, to me, you're replacing Mike Anderson for a guy that's kind of got his same credentials.
Well, I'll say this.
Touche.
The only thing, and I don't agree with any of that. My only thing about it is you talk about fit. And like certain jobs, like we talked about, like Marquette. When we talked about Shaka, it wasn't like when Shaka was out of Texas, we weren't saying like Shaka sucked. He wasn't a good coach. It was just they didn't fit. Now he gets to Marquette. We were like, it's a better fit for him being in Marquette.
That's true.
I'm only saying that certain jobs, like even for Mike, at certain jobs, it just people would always complain about it and say, hey, it's not necessarily a fit, whether you like it or not, whether you think he's in or out or not. I just would like to see Bobby back in that area.
Yeah.
Because if not, then who? You talking about some new guy, like you better be careful what you going for in that damn league, being just coming up. Like,
well, that's
true.
Just
figure shit out in that league.
There's no question about it. In a world where Shaka Smart, Sean Miller, Thad Mott, I mean, obviously it's been rough on Thad, but and obviously
Cooley, I mean,
Kyle Neptune's had to learn now because you got Greg McDermott, you got Ed Cooley, Even Shaheen Holloway has said, hey, it's been hard. Now he doesn't have the most talent. He'll have more talent in future years. But it's hard.
He better.
No, he will. He will. Randolph saw them in November. They beat Memphis. Yeah. And they beat Memphis because they were tough. They weren't more talented than Memphis.
No.
Also, they beat Rutgers at the rack. Don't forget.
So speak quickly on them. They have to win Friday night against Xavier. Have to win. And if they win that game, they'll be back on the bubble. The Hall. The only power conference game on Friday night is Seton Hall and Xavier.
Go Pirates. And you know who'll be on the call, TO and RC? John Fanta.
There we go.
Cannot wait. All right.
Very excited. That is probably there's just been a lot of chatter in the chat. So we'll leave it at that. You guys can do your toast that night. I was looking for another blind resume to end on, but I can't find one that's good enough. So we'll just leave it at that, and we'll head to toast.
Someone put $500 on the Marquette money line because Terrence picked Marquette.
It's all on you. TO. All on you, TO.
I gotta ask you guys before we jump off. So what other coach for this alma mater would you say? We talked about Penny. Is there another another player coaching his alma mater that you question?
Well, there's one that's going to be gone at the end of the year.
Well, I don't think that. I mean, Patrick at Georgetown's obvious. Are you going in a different direction?
That's the easy
here?
one.
Okay, hold on. Let me think here. I wonder where you're going here.
Well, you got Hubert at North Carolina.
No, that's not happening.
All right.
Boeheim's going nowhere.
Where are you going with this?
I just asked a question. There's nothing to do it. I'm just like, is that
Terrence? Do you know?
It's not. Mike Woodson's not going anywhere.
No.
I think I picked it up too. I got it.
You knew what you were doing.
I got it.
I just asked the questions, man.
See, you know what?
I just asked the questions.
This is where they won Saturday night. Terrence, he's talking about Jawan.
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. I think I'll say this to you. I don't even think there's a conversation about Jawan. This is year 4.
Totally
He's been in the tournament.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. The Jawan talk is ridiculous. He's done a very nice job at Michigan. Enough with that. They made the Sweet 16 last year, people. How many other Big Ten teams did that?
I think it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Who are you questioning?
No. I see, my point was going off of everything we're going off of. What about Jamie Dixon?
What about him?
I think he's
doing awesome.
fine.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what about Huggy? If they don't make it,
he's a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
I'm wondering what was the motive here.
It's no motivation.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here trying to figure that out too.
Let me crush the suspense. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying it's easy with you guys because the goalposts don't move. But it's curious to me how, from a perspective standpoint, how in the hell is Jawan's job on the line? And Jawan just went to the tournament the last 3 years. And then we got coaches that are coaching their alma maters, and it's like, yo, like, what are we talking about here?
Go ahead.
Hey, first of all, somebody keeps asking, my favorite beer is Bud Heavy. Go back to what y'all are talking about. My favorite beer is Bud Heavy.
This is why, Dagan, this is why the Field of 68 live from the Final Four is the best week of programming.
Oof.
Because Randolph challenges the people who move their goalposts around.
Also, I've got word. Craig Robinson may be joining us this year at the Final Four.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to tell you what right now. I'm going to tell you, I think things are going to get heated at the Final Four over this Penny stuff because you're not going to have it at the live set with him.
Okay, let's be honest. Let's be honest. This is how it's going to play out. Goodman's going to give the trash take that it was, and everybody at the field
was a bad take.
is going to disagree with
really
him,
bad take.
and he's going to try to defend it against 12 other people.
Yeah,
I'm wondering what the hell did Rob say when he said it? Like, did they just?
I don't remember. I was too in awe of Goodman saying that it wasn't a good whatever. I don't even remember.
Goodman's definitely sleeping right now. Randolph, in the morning, or even like right now, because he is asleep, you just got to put in the group chat, in the group text with the After Dark crew, Goodman, I want a piece of you in Houston over this Penny take.
Yeah, you got to see me over this take. The Goodman's got to see me over this take. I got the next show. We got to be on the next show or something. He got to explain himself to me on that one.
It's
wild to me. Like nobody agrees with him.
No. You want to hear the best part of the whole take? It came the day they lost by 8 to the number 1 team
without their best player,
without Kendrick Davis. Yeah,
that's the best part of the take.
I actually thought they played pretty hard, pretty well.
They played well.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, I'm with you.
And his teams defend their ass off. They've known to compete defensively. Like, come on, man.
Here you go.
Like,
Brady said 1v1 RC versus Goodman in the octagon. Winner gets to decide if Penny keeps his job. I know who I'm taking in that one. I can tell you that.
Man, that's tough there.
Good.
Do you think do you think that Penny watches this stuff?
You know what? Everybody gets it whether they want to acknowledge it or not.
I hope not, because he ain't coming on.
Everybody gets it whether they acknowledge it or not.
There's no way that he's coming on our show.
Yeah, he might. He could. I think he would. I think he would.
Goodman could be Goodman's day.
If Goodman couldn't be hosting it now, Goodman couldn't be on the show. But yeah. Yeah.
All right. 3 toasts. Who do you want to go with?
Oh, it wasn't a whole lot tonight to go on, so
it's not great.
I'm gonna go with the Dukies, man. I good win for Shire and the Blue Devils.
I think I need to clip that. Save that for something.
I know. Yeah, don't clip that. Don't tell that. No, I'm joking.
Terrence, anywhere?
My toast goes to.
Hold on, T.O. Hold on, T.O. I want to cut you off quick. 18. We need 18 more likes by the time these two are done giving their toast to get T.O.
Come on.
All right, continue.
My toast goes to Texas, Rio Grande Valley, with an absolute thrashing of the Southwest Assemblies of God tonight, 113 to 65.
You mean Swag University?
Swag
University.
Those guys. Yep.
Shout out.
Oh, come on.
Shout out Swag University.
Oh, don't
Swag you.
Go Lions.
Don't put down the Southwest Assembly. Come on.
They got 113 put on their head today.
What a late February matchup that is.
We need
exactly.
Oh goodness.
Easter Sunday, we need the Southwest Assembly of God versus Portland Bible.
And let's get Florida Tech in there. Georgia Tech just played Florida Tech.
Yeah, what was that? I saw that on Saturday.
Georgia Tech. Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
Was Josh
they had their week off.
But they just came off a
job
win.
saver, that one.
They had just beat Virginia Tech though.
Okay, my toast is to the Missouri Valley. All right, Arch Madness is going to be wild. guys, Drake and Bradley are at the top of the league at 14-4. Okay. I watched Bradley beat Southern Illinois in a grinder of a game, 50-48 on Sunday. It doesn't matter. They won. Bradley has won 8 in a row. Drake has won 9 in a row. Indiana State, who's in third place, is 13-5. They've won 7 in a row in the league. So you've got the Sycamores, the Braves, and Drake all at the top of that league. And Drake and Bradley are going to play on Sunday. I'm checking this to make sure because we like shouting out our mid-majors. Drake will play Bradley Sunday on ESPN2. It's a national telecast. The MVC is a fun league. Whoever comes out of it will have a legitimate shot there in the NCAA tournament. But, man, you want to talk about the top of that league. You've got dueling winning streaks. Those two teams are going to take, as long as they win on Wednesday, Drake's hosting Illinois State. Bradley doesn't play this week. So you're at least going to have one of these two teams that's on a significant winning streak. Bradley's won 8 in a row. They'll take that streak into Sunday against Drake, who could enter having won 10 in a row. That's a great mid-major game.
Indiana State is right behind them, and they won 7 straight.
And
they're only one
Josh
game behind
Schertz,
them.
hey, and Josh Schertz was at the Division II level when I was still coaching.
How about
And you know
that?
who his best player was at Lincoln Memorial University? His best player was Cavassier Macaulay, who's now his best player at Indiana State.
That's amazing.
And nobody in Division II was guarding that man. Not a one.
Is that guy
was guarding that dude.
Terrence, is that guy
Division II level.
35? Is Macaulay 35 years old?
He might be. He's old. He was at DePaul last year, right? And he's a scorer. He's a bucket. Josh Schertz is a hell of a coach, though. I mean, a really, really good coach. Hey, in all seriousness, can I get my toast to the city of Boise? Because I've been running around today because I wasn't about to fly back home. It's like a 6-hour flight back to Atlanta. But man, what a town this place is. Like beautiful mountains and everything. I hiked up to Table Rock today and overlooked the entire city. That it's a sweet place. You've never been to Boise, and I know that's kind of a random place to be like, hey, go to Boise. It's a cool joint. And they had a really cool atmosphere yesterday at their game versus UNLV.
You're back
So cheers to
Wednesday
them.
night? You're back Wednesday night?
Yep, I got Wednesday. I got Boise State and New Mexico.
At what time?
Hell if I know right now. It's late. It's a late game.
Hold on,
You
I
probably,
got it.
you probably should figure that out. Also, big game for the bubble. We'll say that. Boise State.
10:30
Yep.
10:30 Eastern time Wednesday.
8:30 here.
FS1, everybody. Over
FS1.
on FS1. Check out TO.
The Field of 68 takes over FS1 this week.
Yeah, we're taking it over here. And you know what? I got to tell you, we got to talk mid majors. We don't do it as much as maybe we'd like to, but we're going to do it here. You know why, folks? These teams are going to win tournament games, and while
Especially this year,
Early.
right? Don't you think?
Yeah, it will early.
that extra year of eligibility has just broadened the base of talent. There's just more players that are good, and the mid majors are good.
Did you hit the like goal there?
We did not. We are 7 likes away. Looks like Tio's going to have to wait another day to get his Twitter back.
Come on.
We went a long time.
There are 338 people watching. We can't get 7 more people to like this video chat.
So how many of those people are robots?
I hope none, but probably a few.
Probably the same people that took my Twitter.
Also true. Tio's big into the cryptocurrency game these days.
True. All
right. We can wrap it up, Fanta. Oh, we hit it. We hit 150 likes.
There we go.
You got it?
There we go.
We're at 160.
Oh,
there we go.
Congratulations, Tio. Congratulations, Tio. I will put in a good word to get your Twitter back.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. For Randolph, Tio, and Dagan, this is Fanta signing off. We'll talk to you in about 22 and a half hours for a huge Tuesday night edition of After Dark. So long.